If you didn't see my Glios recap, I will apologize in advance for the audio quality of this video and for any in the immediate future while I procure a new battery for my external microphone. Yay! I totally forgot to grab one last time I was at Walmart. So it's going to be like this for the immediate future. I apologize for the background noise and the general lower quality. But I don't want to deprive you guys of scheduled videos and content on the channel. So we're going to go ahead and review something just so I can go off and send it to eBay. I mean, return it to the shelves where it will be loved and displayed with care. In someone else's house. This is Tomahawk. This is Tomahawk from the unnamed Transformers 2010 toy line. Before it was Hunt for the Decepticons, it was just the Amalgamous movie line where lots of stylistic toys were produced and didn't really have any kind of place to go. It's just this weird little nebulous of randomness. This is a very vicious looking attack helicopter. Very cool looking. Lots and lots of very sharp lines and detail on this guy. Jet black plastic with a little bit of a pale brown or tan coloring to some of it, and a little bit of bronze just for the sake of having a little bit of color in there. Deco-wise, you get very sparse amount of paint apps. You get some gunmetal on the little fins there on the front, a little bit of red, translucent yellow cockpit, which does have some detail inside. You can see where someone would feasibly be sitting. And you also see a little bit of silver right there for the intakes, as well as a little bit painted on the back for the rear rotor blades. And then there is this gold line that trims through the tail section and then across the wings. I really do like that hit of gold against the black. It's a very, very good color scheme that always works out. You also have extra guns in the gunmetal gray paint mounted to the wing tips. Speaking of just mounted weaponry, massive rocket launchers, little missiles here. This thing is loaded for bear. This thing is going to decimate a small country. So, yes, so of course, he's an Autobot. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? Michael Bay. Thank you. As you can see, yes, the big launchers are definitely missiles that can actually fire. They are actual projectiles, which we can... Ooh! Whee! Like so. Yes, I've gotten sick of the joke too, so we're not making it anymore. It's not a bad mold. It's not a bad looking attack copter. You know, you can see a lot of molded lines, a lot of sharp angles and details going all throughout it. Every little bit seems to have just a little bit of molding around it, keeping it interesting. Though the jet black plastic does tend to wash it out sometimes if the light doesn't hit it right. One of the downsides, however, is he does have quite a bit of junk underneath him that really doesn't come together in any clean way. You can see it all kind of has the same angle to it and folds into something of a solid piece, but you can tell it's just a bunch of robot mode junk on the bottom. You know, it's the downside of helicopters. There's not a whole lot of shape. There's not a whole lot of bulk to work with, even in the attack helicopter spectrum. But, you know, they try anyway. It's a little bit of a detraction from the overall look. He does have he does have like little tiny landing gears that can be adjusted, which that's something anyway. Also, the rotor blade has something of a oddity to it in that it is not pinned in with a metal pin like typical, which means while it does hold positions, it does not have the spin you would normally expect from a Transformers helicopter blade. When you're doing something that even Black Arachnia got right, there's an issue. So, yeah, it's just odd. It's a kind of unfortunate. But hey, it is what it is. So let's get this guy into robot mode and see what he can do to kind of make up for that. I'm going to raise these fins out of the way just so I can get at everything else. The legs are pinned into the bulk of the helicopter. Come on. There we go. Unclipped, unfurled, that's ready to go. I can also separate the tail at this point. Everything kind of hinges out on those. Oh man, everything's stuck together right now. Yeah, they've got these little pegs that have to come up in order to unseat the arms from the bulk of the helicopter's parts. Alright, so that out of the way. Move them over here. From there, you can fold the hands out. There we go. Alright, so there's a part of this transformation that always gets me. It's how the head actually works. It's a little bit easier in Vehicle 2 Robot, but going the other way, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to actually get the head back into position. Fold up the landing gear, fold that flush, close that up. Alright, getting through pretty smoothly here. Raise up the intakes to form the actual chest. From here, I'm realizing I probably should have fixed the rotor blades first. So let me go ahead and come on. Rotor blades have to close up, rotate down. That would have been easier to begin with, but hey, it's done now. All that into position. With that, feet folding out, like so. Oh! Like I said, feet folding out like so. Never mind the abrupt jump cut. Don't pay attention. Don't pay attention to what's going on. I am a complete and utter fraud. I'm doing my best. Alright, so with that all out of the way and everything in place, that gives us our robot mode for Tomahawk, the very assault-based Autobot. See, he does definitely have that movie aesthetic to him. This was in that period between Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, where they were starting to get the engineering down. And once again, things seem to be a lot more solid when you aren't actually in the movie, you're just in the movie toy line. So he does come up looking a little bit more intact and a lot less kibbly than some of his fellow Autobots. Taking a look at the robot mode's head, he definitely has something of an attack helicopter pilot going on. It definitely gives you the pilot's helmet shape as well as the visor as well. It does make him look far more simple in facial structure than most Autobots and most movie toys in general. So that's either a plus or a minus, depending on how you like the movie aesthetic. I will say it's very weird that the entire back of his head is translucent blue for the light piping, even though his eyes can't be seen because of the bright yellow visor. Little bit of a miscommunique, I believe. Beyond that, we look at his proportions. He doesn't come out looking too odd, but there are some little bits of him that are strange. He gets extremely thin in the legs, and the bulkiest part of his legs seem to be the knees rather than the thighs, which is a little odd. One thing that bugs me, and I noticed this on strangely enough, another helicopter, Skyhammer, I don't like the arms that do this, where here, if I put the shoulder level to his body and we look down, his arm just kind of angles inward. It's a very strange thing, and it's possible to make it go away in some poses, but it just always put me off a little bit. His head also sits a little bit high, and I've double-checked to make sure that isn't a mistransformation on my part. Yeah, it's just kind of bizarrely up there. So the proportions are just a wee bit odd. He doesn't look terrible, just strange, I guess. He adds a lot more of the bronze coloring, this time in paint, along the top of the arms, as well as going down into the forearms. That's pretty much it as far as the new paint goes. He does have a little bit of black on the legs, just to break them up, but it really did need something else in here. His legs are just a big swash of gray, and needed, I don't know, a little bit of the gold, maybe, going in through into the knees, something. I don't know. It seems a little bit unbroken, which is too bad. For actual features, I guess we can go into. He also has this little pincer claw made up from the tail fin on his helicopter mode. It's a neat little way of actually doing something with it. It's unique. I kind of like it. Nothing really on this side unless you want to pretend that fires out. I don't know. It's your toy. Use your imagination. It's what toys are for. Beyond that, of course, he still has access to his missile launchers above his shoulders. And they are removable, so we can actually unpeg them if you want him to actually hold into his hand. He can do that, or because these do use that little C-clip gimmick that was working in a lot of the movie lines and a lot of the lines that came out around the same time, you can find other places to clip them. Anywhere where you can find a 3mm bar anywhere on the figure. He doesn't have too many, and strangely enough, if I'm right, some of the ones he does have are unusually placed. I don't know, maybe you want a missile launching from his foot. I don't know. Your imagination's weird for all I know. You want him firing out of his butt. I know what you want. No, he doesn't have a peg on his butt. No, never mind. I'm not gonna feed that. I'm not going to I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Let's go to articulation quickly while I still have some semblance of my sanity. The head does have a ball joint. It's on clear plastic, so you know how I feel about that. But it does rotate all the way around, gives him some range to look up and down. Shoulders are ball jointed. Good motion, good range. These wings are luckily ball jointed as well, which means they can move out of the way if you need them to for his actual articulation. A bicep rotation, as well as an elbow bend that's a little bit beyond the 90 degree. That's excellent. His waist is kind of collapsed together, so there's no swivel or articulation there. It does have something of a thigh swivel, quite tight, but it is in there. Knees, decent bend, about 90. You also have the potential to digitigrade the legs, so you can have that more movie-style aesthetic, and I believe this is how the toy really wants you to pose it, but I hate that look, so I generally keep it straight. And I like the toys that give you enough hinge range in order to make that an option rather than a requirement. So I prefer this way. If you prefer the more what they would expect you to do, you can do that too. But hey, again, it's your toy. Do with him as you will. So in general, that is Transformers 2010 Tomahawk. He is a cool looking toy with a little bit of strangeness in his overall design in both modes. And while he gets a little bit sparse on detail, he does have a lot of cool look to him. He is a very buff and very well-armed attack helicopter, especially considering he's a good guy. And he does have some okay play features. He's about middle of the run, I would say. There's nothing like terribly exciting about him, but that's probably just me. He doesn't do anything grievously wrong either. I think he's a fine toy.